I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast live over the Lunenburg Public Access channel on Facebook Live on the Public Access Facebook page and will be uploaded to the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel after the meeting. The agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. We're going to begin tonight with announcements, and I have two. The first is a reminder that the Citizens Party Caucus will be held on Monday, March 9th at 7 p.m. at the Middle High School Auditorium. Attending the caucus and getting nominated and voted for at the caucus is one of the easiest ways to get on the ballot. The other way is to gather signatures. So if you have any interest in serving on one of the elected boards in town, then you should attend and run for a position. And if you don't, you should still attend. A list of vacancies are on the town's website and Facebook page as well. And just another reminder as well, that there's a public presentation and Q&A session that will be held by the fire chief for the 4-shift proposal for the fire department at the Lunenburg Adult Activity Center on Tuesday, February 24th at 5 p.m. So if you're interested in learning about why the department needs a 4th shift or have questions about it, then attend the event. It will be recorded by PAC as well and made available for viewing afterwards. Okay, public comment. Any public comment from the public this evening? Seeing no one in the room, but a lot of people on Zoom. Is there any public comment from Zoom? All right, not seeing any public comment from the public. Any public comment from the board?
Nope.
Okay, so up first we have a common vic license application for Empire Athletics located at 308 Massachusetts Avenue. And I believe we have Shahid here, who is representing them. So Shahid, I will ask you to introduce yourself and just talk a little bit about your business and why you're looking for a VIC license. Sorry, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Okay, sir.
All right, we can hear you
I
now.
apologize. Perfect. Yeah, so my name is Shahid Qureshi. I also, Nicholas Gallagher is on the call as well. We are both co-owners of Empire Athletics, which is a fitness facility as well as a smoothie bar and cafe. We have our first business in Leominster, and we have just opened our second location in Lunenburg now. We are both residents of Lunenburg, and a part of having the smoothie bar has been instructed that we need the common vic. We have received all the permits from the Board of Health and from the town for opening. So this is just the last item we need in order to proceed forth with the smoothie bar business aspect.
Okay, so it's just that smoothie bar that you're looking to get the license for?
Yes, sir.
All right, sounds good. To the town manager and Melissa, does everything look good for the application?
Everything's
Yeah.
in order.
All right, does anyone from the board have any questions for the applicants?
Nope.
All right, sounds good. So then I will move to approve the common vic license application for Empire Athletics located at 308 Massachusetts Ave.
Second.
Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The motion passes unanimously. All right, thanks. Have a good night, guys.
Good luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, moving on, appointments, ratifications, and resignations. So the first is to acknowledge the retirement of Fire Chief Patrick Sullivan, effective November 6, 2026.
So, Mr. Chairman, I am unfortunately sharing with the board tonight that Chief Sullivan, after 42 years of service, has decided it is time to retire. I will save his notification for a more formal time when he can appear before us. But I'm grateful to the chief that we have a long lead time to really strategize around his replacement and plan for the next steps. But huge shoes to fill.
Yeah, it's going to be sad to see him go, and I thank him for over 40 years of service to the town, and I hope he enjoys his retirement. Okay, up next is ratify the town manager's appointment of Kimberly Govin as payroll and benefits coordinator.
Yes, so Mr. Chairman, this has been, as the board is aware, a difficult time in filling this position, but I'm excited to say that with your ratification this evening, Kim will be joining us starting tomorrow as our new payroll and benefits
Okay.
coordinator. Although she does not have munis experience, she does have public sector experience, having served at a nearby school district in a similar capacity where she used a Tyler product. So although not munis, she is familiar with Tyler Technologies. She has a vast experience in payroll and benefit administration. We are planning at this point to overlap her and Rich Tomczyk, who's been here from Robert Half as a contractor for about a period of a month, so that there can be more than one payroll cycle that she observes and then ultimately handles with him observing. But we're really excited. This is the final piece in getting the finance department back whole.
Yeah, glad that she'll be starting soon. So any questions for the town manager? All right, with that, I move to ratify the town manager's appointment of Kimberly Govan as payroll and benefits coordinator.
Second.
Any additional discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion passes unanimously. Great. Glad we're finally filling this one, too.
Yes.
Okay, town manager report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, update on the FY27 budget preparation. We are close, very close for the preliminary FY27 budget to be pulled together. I want to thank everybody for pitching in these last final days to get us over the finish line, hopefully. And I will plan to present the preliminary budget this Thursday, February 19th, to the Finance Committee. To be clear, this will not be a balanced budget and will be reliant on an override. And there are additional factors which will affect the final number of the budget. The board is aware, but the town maybe not, that we are currently negotiating 3 labor contracts with DPW, fire, and the clerical union. We are also negotiating with the PEC for health insurance. We have received our health insurance rate increase for FY27, which is 8.85%, but whatever we do with the PEC will have an effect on that rate, one way or another potentially. And we're also exploring additional items that might affect the budget, such as winding down TCP, potential changes to the recycling program, et cetera. But we have it, I think, in a good enough space to be presenting a preliminary budget, but to be clear, that budget will not be balanced. And it's looking right now over $3 million. We'll confirm that with the school's numbers, but that's kind of a highlight for what more might be coming on Thursday. In addition to the preliminary budget presentation, fire, police, and facilities will be presenting the 19th. Next Thursday, the 26th, the school and IT departments will be presenting to Finance Committee. So for those in the public that start paying attention at this time of year, these are the important meetings that if you have questions about why is there a shortfall, what are different departments planning in their budget, these are the meetings to start tuning into. Turning to the close of FY25, we do have an extension through the end of this month, February, and Karen Brochu is making good progress on closing out FY25. The revenue and expenditure budgets are balanced. The cash is nearly balanced with Mylene, the treasurer collector, and Karen. I think they're chasing down about $200 right now to balance. So I told them that they could leave it, but accountants need to find every penny. And so I have some preliminary figures of what free cash might be looking like. It's looking very healthy at over $3 million. We know some of the reasons for that would be the large turnback from the schools. We have also investment income did really well again, like it did last year. And so we do know some reasons why it's high, but as a reminder, I budgeted very conservatively on the capital plan at the $1.8 million in free cash. Obviously, $3 million is substantially different than that. But until we have our final numbers, I'm not going to revisit that capital plan. We did meet with capital planning last week, and I kind of advised them of, without knowing that number, kind of the 1.8 was preliminary, and we'll see where we go. With such a high number and uncertain financial futures, I will be looking to make contributions into the stabilization fund and potentially the health insurance stabilization fund, which was initially off. TCP meetings on the potential wind down of the TCP building. At the last meeting of the board, I updated the board relative to meetings that were held with Food Pantry and PAC. Following that meeting, I got a somewhat panicked call from folks at PAC, folks at the Food Pantry, that the timeline that I discussed here wasn't the timeline that they were understanding to be. We were talking fiscal years and they were talking calendar years. So the ease at which they understood the news now makes sense because they thought that it was a different timeline. They did express that moving out of the building or winding down prior to the next heating season will be a substantial challenge for them. So it is a different conversation. They were going to regroup. I expect there will be many conversations with the Food Pantry to follow. But to those in the community that might have some unique ideas for a location, I'm sure the Food Pantry would love to hear you on what those may be. PAC, on the other hand, is having a little bit more success in relocation, exploring leasing space. They met last week with Fitchburg Access TV. We haven't seen numbers, but it is definitely a possibility that we are able to lease both office and studio space at the, if you have not seen it, state-of-the-art facility that is located in Fitchburg. I do
Where
not.
is it in Fitchburg?
Right downtown. It's in an old bank.
Oh, I know where it is.
Yep, and it is a beautiful studio. So, if this works out, it might be a great partnership. Just like us, Fitchburg, they have a lot more revenues, but their revenues are declining as well as people cut the cord. So it might be a mutually beneficial arrangement. All of this will take some time to develop. The chairman already announced the fourth shift fire presentation next week. Lastly, I want to announce that Regional Dispatch held its first ever tri-board meeting. Tri-board meetings are a thing now with their administrative board, operations committee, and finance committee. This was the first time all three groups have come together. And we came together because the district generated free cash for the first time in a long time, $433,000 in free cash. And some members of the Finance Committee had been suggesting that we return those funds to the member groups to reduce the assessments. The Administrative Board felt that that was not what should be done. We know that our assessments on the out years are going to increase once grants run out related to Hudson and Sterling, who have recently come on. But also that this is one-time funds, and we felt as an administrative board that it would be better tucked away. So ultimately, the free cash is not being returned to the member communities. There is some staying in free cash and some going to the district's stabilization and capital account. Current recruitments, I don't have any new recruitments to announce, but the staff librarian for the young adults department, outreach coordinator, recreation director, special assistant to the assessors, and dietary aide are all posted. Boards, committees remain the same, except with the new addition of the Cable Advisory Committee. Staff has put together something to announce that to the community, which should be going out later this week. And that concludes my report.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions?
Yeah, do you know how the snow and ice deficit's running? Do you have any? Because I see we're getting more this week, more snow this weekend.
Give me just a moment.
Just looking at that free cash. I
So-
feel better about being able to cover that deficit.
Yeah.
I had tentatively pegged, if I recall, $500,000
Okay.
to cover the snow and ice deficit, but let's see. So right now, I have to math.
You don't have to do, I mean,
So it's about 300,000.
bigger than last year.
Well, the deficit's
Yes.
300,000. Right now, the snow and ice deficit's 300,000. I don't recall what our final number was last year, the shortfall. In speaking to Karen Brochu, she says that in years past, the town typically did not utilize free cash to cover the snow and ice deficit. Rather, they used unexpended funds from within the current operating year. It's 6 of one, half dozen of the other,
Right.
but it does, so it means there will be less free cash in the following year, but
Yeah, okay.
it may be a distinction without difference in the long run, but I just thought I'd bring that up here as well.
So, since you mentioned Karen, you think, well, we won't need another extension?
I do not.
Oh, good,
That's great news.
Good.
yes.
Great work, team.
And I think, I know the answer, but just to confirm for the public, you're not talking about the capital budget at FinCom on Thursday?
I am not
Just
talking capital.
operating, okay.
Yeah, I won't bring up capital again with any level of certainty until we have at least what's been submitted to the state for
I just
certification
want
of
to
free
set the
cash.
expectations for Thursday.
Correct, yeah. We'll be talking operating solely.
All right, thank you. Moving on to new business. Up first, we have a vote to declare an electric range stove as surplus property. So this is from the Lunenburg Adult Activity Center. It's estimated that it has a value of less than $200. Any questions on this? Okay, so I move to declare the electric range stove from the Lunenburg Adult Activity Center as surplus property.
Second.
Any additional discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The motion passes unanimously. Okay, and review FY26 Select Board and Town Manager goals and objectives. So we're a little over halfway through the year, so it's just an opportunity to go through it, especially for the Town Manager with the evaluation coming up. If we want to remove some things, we can. We can do the same for our goals as well if we feel it's necessary, although not as important that we do it for ours. So I will just open it up now and we can just read through them.
And you
Did
do have it printed here for you as well,
Yes,
if you want to mark
thank
them
you.
up.
Thank you. I might actually do that just in case I want to make notes. Thanks. Okay. Does everyone have one? All right.
So, town managers, do we have yours with the updates from the comments, or is it in last week's
It
folder?
was last week.
Last week's, I can move it over, well,
No,
let me,
I can pull it up, I just wanted to look at your notes.
Okay. I can give it a second too if you want to pull it up. We can start with the town manager's goals too, if it makes sense for people. Does anyone have a preference?
Oh, I guess that's where my brain went.
Yeah, those are probably more important.
Okay, I agree. So we can start with the town manager's goals. It starts on the second page here, if anyone's looking at the printout in front of us. And I'll just wait until we all have it open, so.
and I did drop that markup in this.
Okay, thank you. I'm actually going to pull it up as well. Great. All right, everyone ready?
Sure.
Okay, so the first one, goal number one, we're starting with the town manager's goals. Goal number one is budgeting and finance. So I won't read all the bullet points, but objective one, develop a FY27 budget and multi-year, minimum of 3-year financial forecast. So the comment that we have in various stages of progress with some areas complete. And I'll also include you in all of this too, so, feel
Yeah.
free to chime in and take part in this discussion at any point. Do you want to modify any of these? Are there any things that you want to, remove on here, looking through the bullet points?
I'd say the January date, we should probably, I guess you've been updating status. Sorry, I know you were talking to her.
No, it's okay, it doesn't matter. Anyone can just talk.
Yeah, I think that the only things that might not be as firm as I would like them are a really robust 3-year forecast.
Yeah.
And.
That's what stuck out to me too.
Yeah, and we've had talks about staffing plans, but it says begin to develop 5-year staffing plans. That's being discussed in context of the budgetary process as a whole, but I would say that a real robust 5-year plan or 3-year forecast is not likely to occur.
Okay,
But I'm not asking for any modifications here. I think that, flagging it and just realizing that that's
where we're at.
where we're at, I think is,
I think that it's real, personally, I would feel comfortable taking those two things out. I think with everything that we've had going on and that you've had under your belt right now, that doesn't, I was worried about this as we set these already, that
Yeah.
these were really ambitious. I don't see how you can get a 5-year staffing plan done
No.
before the end of the year. That's just my personal.
Some departments might have it,
Feelings.
but we have some new department heads.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
Like-
it's going to take time for everyone to settle in and figure out what those long-term needs are. So it says begin to develop 5-year staffing plan for all town departments. It does say begin, which is good. We could even just change it from 5 years to a multi-year staffing plan if we want to make it a little more open.
I'm fine, again,
Yeah.
with the language staying, that's
Okay.
fine. I think when you get to objective 3, it becomes much more clear what.
Yes, and what about going back to the other part, the multi-year, minimum of 3-year financial forecast?
I think beyond what we've done as part of the tri-board process and financial forecasting, we're not unfortunately going to be able to move the needle much further than that. I think that's an effort that we were, intentional about in development of budgets, that getting folks to really try to think beyond this year. And I think you've seen, varying department heads have either more engagement around that versus others. It is somewhat of a philosophy change. I'm happy that we've gotten as far as we've gotten with the multi-year forecast. I know some folks in the community were really hoping that as part of, and I was too, frankly, that part of this tri-board process leading up to a potential override, that we could have a good vision of what it looks like beyond FY '27. I think the volatility in the markets alone suggests that that's not, maybe we shouldn't be planning for FY '30 based on what's happening in FY '27, because this feels very volatile.
Yeah.
Going from 20% insurance increases to 8%, I mean, that's on the largest element of your budget. That makes it really difficult to have any type of meaningful forecast. And so, I'd be hesitant to put out to the public something that I would put my stamp on at this point, saying, this is the financial forecast for the town of Lunenburg for the years 28 and 29.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's really challenging and almost impossible to get a solid, comprehensive, multi-year financial forecast for the entire town budget. But I do think what we've done, especially, engaging with department heads and getting those budgets as early as we have and getting them to start thinking about it, is a success in terms of this goal. So that's how I'm looking at it. And I'm not hearing any major opposition here either. So,
Yeah, we had a few most, I would say, present through FY '29 to the
Right.
tri-board. And most of it was strategic, like around staffing and growth and where they saw their departments going. What that cost will be is an unknown. So you can, this, I want to grow the department, I want to add this, whatever. But the cost is a guess at this point, but
yeah, and I mean, we effectively got it from all departments, right? And
there's
I mean,
only a couple that we didn't.
okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it a 3-year comprehensive financial forecast, but it is a roadmap that will help determine where we're going, right? So,
It's more than we've had in the past, I feel like.
oh, for sure. Yeah. So, no,
So
I
we
mean,
change that language or take out minimum of 3 years? Or do we think we're okay with what we've done?
I think it's fine, honestly. I consider it a success. I think, we have a pretty strong idea of where departments want to go in the next few years, and the details of it, no, we don't know all the details, but it's kind of impossible to know the financial details right now.
And I think the public wasn't in necessarily our workshop, and I don't know if have gone back and watched that, but goals are aspirational, right? So I am fully comfortable and confident in getting to the end of the year and not having checked off and being reviewed and not having checked off every single one of these, and taking what was a goal this year, changing it, enhancing it, and morphing it into something that's based in this for future years.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay. All right, so let's move on to objective 2, explore town-school operational and budgetary collaboration and efficiencies, including consolidation of departments, joint purchasing, consolidation of vendors. This goal will span multiple fiscal years. During the initial year of this goal, the town manager will work to determine which areas warrant further study. Perfect. Any discussion on that one? Okay. Objective 3, begin to use the ClearGov software for the FY '27 operating and capital budgeting process. We don't have it anymore, so we can't do that, which honestly I think is probably for the best. I think having software like this is really useful, but the amount of work that goes into it on the front end, maybe, there's a trade-off there, right? And
I think that it was working well.
When it was actually being used.
While it was being used, and that if that hadn't paused, we would be having a different conversation.
Right. I mean, when was the last year that we actually used it?
It was
It's been
last year.
several.
It has not been used since Heather left.
Right, and I think it was even longer.
No.
Really, than it was used like
She
to
used
its
it in
full
her
capacity.
in her last budget.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. So,
So the FY '25 budget appropriation is the last time that it's been used. And, it does help in delivering the information to the public. That's one of the biggest pluses of this, is that all of this stuff that we're now building, you take the labor out of that, but it's only as good as what the baseline data is that's in it. And without going through and doing all that confirmation, it doesn't make sense for the town of Lunenburg right now in this year. I don't want people to say, though, if the town of Lunenburg in a future year decides that we either have funding for this, or this becomes a priority, or we apply for a grant again, oh, we shouldn't do this, right? Because it's just because we can't do it now doesn't mean that it shouldn't be done.
It's
Right.
very nice to have, but it's not a must-have, and we are not we can afford nice-to-haves right now.
Well, we had to get Munis straightened out this year. I mean, who knew that was going to happen?
so we could either get rid of it or modify the language. Any preference?
I think I'd remove it because
Just
we're not, the software is now gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I could have said like,
Yeah.
we could have added like evaluate the.
Yeah,
need
we're
or-
saving how much money by not renewing that?
Yeah.
About $20,000.
Yeah, which
It wasn't being
20,000 here and
used
there makes it.
in over a year.
Right, and honestly, the savings are offsetting the massive cost increase of
And the-
Munis.
That's,
So Munis, fast forward to maybe a little bit that you'll hear on Thursday, Munis, when we made the transition to the cloud-based, was initially heavily subsidized by ARPA funding. That funding is gone, so we are absorbing a huge increase in the IT budget, almost $50,000 increase. Total Munis is $108,000. So $20,000 may not be a lot, but $20,000 to help offset that increase is huge.
Yep.
Okay. Anyone opposed to just removing this one? All right, so we're going to remove objective 3. First modification here. Objective 4, work with the Finance Committee, Select Board, staff, and other stakeholders to complete the review of and modify as necessary the draft financial policies. So we could just get rid of this one too, right?
I don't want to.
Okay, you don't want.
I don't
okay.
want to.
you don't?
I don't want to get rid of it. I'd like to keep it on here. I'd like to have these policies adopted. We might have to push the timeline that it won't be done, but I think I'd like to keep it in here so that if the board agrees that it's still a priority to finish this, by keeping it here, keeps it on as a priority. We have Karen Barrett here now with us.
Yeah.
Once we are through the meat and potatoes of the budget, and maybe we're not even picking this up frankly until after May, right? After the first week in May. And so maybe we don't finish this by June 30, but I'd like to pick this up and get this one over the finish line.
I don't see it happening before June 30.
Oh,
Maybe
started?
End of 2026. I mean, it has started.
Right.
There has
Yeah.
been some
Some.
start, I think, with FinCom, right?
And capital,
And
yeah,
capital,
yeah.
Yep.
Maybe to adjust the date by end of calendar year 2026? Because it says annual
And-
town meeting now, no way.
Yeah,
I don't even
right.
think
That's
FY
fine.
'26.
So I would probably update 2 things here. So it says to complete the review of, I would change that to begin, to begin the review of. And then we could just remove, well, just say goal, right? Goal of adoption. So that's, I'm not concerned too much by that language. So we could replace the 2026 annual town meeting, or honestly just get rid of that whole parenthesis there. You want to just strike it out?
Well, SMART goal should be time-bound.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I can't believe I'm like putting on an HR hat.
I know, we use SMART too.
We're going through.
Why don't we adjust the goal to the special?
Okay, yeah, that works. So special town meeting. Okay, so we're gonna change complete to begin and then annual to special town meeting. All right, great. Goal number 2, employee experience. I'm not gonna read this first one, but objective 1 was to start reviewing the SAP which we began doing, so no problems there, right?
Correct.
Okay. Objective 2, this one was tabled, so Renee, what was that?
Sorry, just, sick leave bank committee. Where do we stand on that?
We need to, funny about that. I actually just talked to Melissa last week and said, find the last time that this was discussed, because I think that we need to stand up the committee and bring it, and then once the committee stood up, adopt the policy. We paused the adoption of the policy pending the committee.
Because we wanted to adopt the policy beginning with FY '27, is that right?
No, you had wanted to adopt the policy mid-fiscal year, but then didn't do it because you wanted the committee in place before
We do need the committee in place, yeah.
launching. And in collective bargaining agreement negotiations last week, we need to stand up the
Yeah.
sick leave ban committee came up. So, so that is back on, that we need to stand up that committee.
Okay.
Yeah, bump that up in priorities, maybe.
All right. Objective 2, work with staff to identify weaknesses in the town's orientation and onboarding practices. Create and update orientation materials, package, and process with a target roll-off date of March 1st, 2026. Begin to develop an onboarding program for departments that do not have a formalized program. So I'm assuming that's not
So in the-
making the priority list right now.
Well, it's not happening, so
Yeah.
double negative there. So there is work in discrete areas that we are making improvements on as we are countering them. The big holistic approach that I was planning on of tackling onboarding experience, not so much. However, when things in onboarding, and I'm going to use IT as an example, so there were some pretty clear deficiencies in the onboarding process. Actually, I'm just going to say, in onboarding Mr. Wallace, some clear deficiencies in our practice related to onboarding certain staff members were realized through that, which is resulting in immediate conversations around corrective action and processes and policies and checklists and stuff like that. So it's not that it's not working and we're not working on it. We are. It's just not in as holistic of a comprehensive way as we wanted to. We continued to chip away. And so there will be things that we do that have improved upon the onboarding and orientation process. Not by March 1st, certainly.
Come on.
And I think that really, this is something that I need the capacity of the assistant town manager to really be able to assist with. And she has been straight out with all of the hiring, frankly.
Right.
And labor negotiations.
Understood. I mean, there's still progress there, so I consider this a win and
There's
a
progress.
success on this
What if we
objective.
delete the second sentence?
Yeah.
I think capturing, because you are onboarding a lot of staff. And capturing those gaps.
Right, which I think that we're doing all of those.
Yeah,
the
so I
things-
think to modify the objective to capture those gaps.
Yeah.
The next step, once everything, we're not recruiting and onboarding every other day.
Yeah.
Right, is if we removed, create an updated orientation materials package and process with a target relevant. If we remove that sentence, you're really already doing the other
Right.
two
Yeah.
parts of it.
Right.
I
And
know we
then,
lose the date there.
I mean, I think, no, that's fine, because I think it could be an objective for next year, to actually write up a formal.
Right.
Yeah.
okay, so do we want to get rid of the second sentence and replace it with something like Renee was saying, or do we just want to strike it out and keep those other two sentences?
I think what I was saying is
Preference?
captured in the first sentence.
Work.
Work with staff to identify weaknesses in town's orientation and onboarding practices. Begin
Yeah.
to develop an onboarding program for departments that do not have a formalized program.
I think that's fine. Okay. All right, sounds like we'll do that. So we're just going to strike out that second sentence right there. Okay, objective 3, items to be carried over from the Select Board FY25 goals. Implement annual climate survey employee recognition program.
These things, I think, are both still going to happen this spring.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so we'll leave it. Goal number 3, municipal property, objective 1, TC Passios. I'm not going to read all of this, but what do you think about this one?
So I would say that no changes really need to happen to this, because
Okay.
originally we were talking about this was going to be looking at post decommissioning, what are the next steps, and that's.
We're kind of forced to start those discussions
Exactly.
right now
It's
anyway.
being laid out on its own.
Yeah, so, okay. Objective 2, 925 Mass Ave, we're working on that. I don't think we need to change any of this, right?
Nope.
Okay, and then objective 3, tax title. Do we,
That one, I do not think that we are going, well, let's see, hold on. I was going to say, I don't think we'll get things through the tax title process, but I think that there's an opportunity with Mr. Wallace here especially, in the spring months, to work with the various boards, committees, and commissions who have identified these, so the board recalls, there's a list of properties in various stages of the tax title process, most of which we do not own yet. And there are different boards, committees, and commissions through some process that have expressed an interest in, should the town ultimately take this property, our board, committee, or commission would be interested in having this. What that process has been, the type of dialogue, the deliberation around it is unclear, and perhaps it's folks, perhaps these got on the list 2 years ago, and different objectives have changed. So to identify these parcels, is it contiguous to another piece of property? Does it make sense because it's connecting trails? Or is this just a landlocked piece of property that really, if we put it up in the auction block, the neighbors might be interested in adding to theirs, and it makes better getting back on the tax rolls? Those are the conversations I think that need to happen, and I think that Mr. Wallace being here can assist in helping that. So I'd like to give this one a little bit more time and see where we are in the spring.
okay, cool. And I think that's it. Yep, that's it. All right. And then we can pivot back to the select board goals now. So I'm going to go back to the first page here. So goal number 1, FY '27 budget. Objective 1, collaborate with staff, finance committee, school committee, and other stakeholders to formalize a comprehensive budget plan through regularly scheduled tri-board meetings. So we've been doing that. Objective 2, evaluate the data and information presented at the tri-board meetings in order to develop a select board recommendation at annual town meeting, et cetera. We've been doing that. Objective 3, engage with the public employee committee, PEC, and school committee on potential modifications to the PEC agreement. That's ongoing, I believe, or we haven't begun that, but.
Mr. Chairman, if I could jump in here.
Yeah.
So we have been negotiating with the PEC now for several months. We had a meeting actually earlier today, and we are very close, I think, to having something for your consideration. We need to have one more meeting for the folks to get some more data next week. And then I believe that at your first meeting in March, we'll likely have an executive session for you to consider what the proposals are currently. But that the final vote on this, if there is going to be any plan design changes, any changes, needs to happen in the month of March. So your final meeting that's regularly scheduled is March 17th. So you may be through this goal relatively quickly in the month of March.
Right, okay.
Is the opt-out part of that?
Yes. The opt-out, plan design change.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Objective 4, evaluate the feasibility and cost efficiencies of digitizing the annual town meeting, the annual town report and alternative notifications for the town meeting warrant in advance of the special town meeting and submit warrant article if appropriate. I mean, I guess we technically did that.
Doing it again?
Yeah, we're doing it again. I do have some updates on that, so I've a red line that I dropped after meeting with Lou Franco, so we'll talk about that under old business.
Going back, objective 2, do we want to change the date by
March.
Oh,
March or April by basically the
we
printing?
can, I'm not opposed to it. I don't, yeah.
Well, it's
Why
definitely not happening.
Yeah, I know. I've said it a couple times, it's less important that our goals are, clear and objectable than the town manager, so, but yeah, we can change that to March. Okay, goal number 2, disposition of municipal properties. So objective 1, work collaboratively collaboratively with the Municipal Building Design Committee to determine how to best address the needs of our municipal buildings post-2025 annual town meeting, including potential warrant articles or presentations. So we did have one initial meeting with them after this, and they ran with it. They've been doing a lot of work. They may need to come back to us relatively soon, but they are doing a lot of work, so that's ongoing. I don't think we need to really change anything here. Okay. Objective 2, evaluate the charge and composition of the Building Design Committee. We did that. Goal number 3, review select board policies and procedures. So I think this is really the one goal that we should evaluate here. So objective 1, review and assist in the finalizing of the draft financial policies. That's fine. Objective 2, review and revise the town's special event policy to make planning and holding community events easier. That's in progress.
Yep, I will have that ready for the first meeting in March for
Okay.
review, if we have time on the agenda for that meeting. I'll get
Great.
it to you before then.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Amanda. Objective 3, review and revise the town's appointment/reappointment policy. All good there. Objective 4, oh, okay. So create a policy for the select board and town manager goal setting and evaluation process. So this was a carryover from FY24. My personal opinion is that we don't really need to do this anymore. I think we had reasons for needing it at that time that don't really apply now. So I'm wondering what other members think. Do we still feel like we need a policy for this?
I do.
Okay, that's fine.
It's in the contract, right? It's in your contract. It's spelled out.
The contract's pretty prescriptive about how it goes.
Yeah.
This was
Yeah.
even more so, this was something that I had brought forward.
Yes.
It was about both, but just looking at the goal-setting process in general, I mean, even our goals, I came onto the board and was like, there's no direction. And you're basically like, have to look at old ones. They're all different. There's no real set timeline. Town manager goals are a little bit different.
Right.
But I still would prefer to have something in there.
Okay.
I don't think it's a priority with everything else we have happening right now. But I'd still,
Yeah, I get
Still
that.
like it.
I mean, I felt the same way as well. And I know we had talked a lot about, like, how do we, like, solicit feedback and, you know, like, how do we, you know, maybe just make
Yeah.
the process better. So
it was
I'm.
a lot of the, from the top down, talking to the staff, getting more input, making it more collaborative kind of a thing.
Exactly.
I just don't know if it's a priority for this year. right
Yeah.
now.
I think too, where the evaluation process is quite prescriptive in the contract, but I think select boards in general sometimes can trip themselves up with some state law around the evaluation. There was that case that came out of, I don't know, it's an S-town, I want to say it's Sudbury, about exactly how the evaluation process must go, and now that's embedded in law. I think it's helpful for future boards who might not be familiar with that to have that baked into a policy so that they don't accidentally run afoul of it, because it is so antithetical to what you would think the process should be.
I just like to have one spot to look instead of, oh, hey, maybe
Exactly.
it's in the law, let's go look here, let's look
Right,
there.
I think that piece could be helpful, just so that folks don't unintentionally run afoul of that process.
Yeah, just so that we have it documented somewhere that's easily accessible.
I might even have drafted a draft for that. I'll look in my files.
I think you did, actually.
I'm pretty sure I did last
I think you did, yeah. Okay, so we can revisit that. I mean, I think, you know, town meeting's gonna come quick, and soon enough, we're gonna be a new board after the elections, but at the same time, I think it's manageable for us to get this done, if we wanna still do it. Okay. Sorry, to the public, someone just came into the room. No, so they are not open right now. This is Melissa, she's our executive assistant, she'll help you out. Thanks, Melissa. Okay. Where was I? Objective 5, create a policy to establish a timeline for the periodic review of the town's fee schedule. Do we still want to do this? Do we think this one's feasible? It might include select board members maybe taking the lead and doing some research and helping out instead of it being completely staff-driven. What do you think?
I think that it's not a big lift. I think if you want to just say, what are the fees that should be reviewed on what cadence. I think that there's certain fees that you might want to at least annually be looking at, and there's other other fees that you might want on a different cadence, and to come up with some formalized way to look at that, I think would be helpful. Let me give you an example. Ambulance rates. I think that that's something that you want on a every other year kind of cadence, that you're at least looking every other year.
Their water rates.
Water rates. But building fees, tech fee, I've asked the building commissioner myself to give me a proposal around tech fees and whether or not that needs to be increased. I think there's certain things that you want to just make sure, at least on a definitive schedule, how often those are happening. And so even if it's as simple as these fees are reviewed every other year in the months of January and February, then just having that list and the cadence down would be helpful.
Yeah.
Could we send out like a quick form for the department heads to fill out? Like, what fees do you have?
And it would only be the fees that this board's approving, right? So,
Correct.
right, so, yep, I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
That might, then
I
we
think
just,
Carter might have put something together, because this came up when Brian
did.
brought the
Building
building
fees.
fees. They hadn't been looked at in years, and we were woefully low.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
when it first came up. So Carter might have something.
would we want to have a comprehensive list, even the ones that we don't review? Would that, just so we have the full list of our fees?
And then, right, I actually, another board had asked Conservation, what's the process for us reviewing our fees?
Yeah,
So-
at least, I mean, if you're gonna, especially if you're gonna send something out, it might
Okay.
be,
We can get a survey out to folks to give some feedback next couple weeks.
Okay.
Yep,
All right, great. And
sorry, I don't mean to be putting more work, I just
that's okay.
no, it's okay. No worries.
thinking out loud.
Okay, objective 6, create a policy regarding the periodic open meeting law and conflict of interest training for elected appointment members of boards, committees, commissions, and organize a workshop with town council on the same.
I don't know if we're gonna be able to get that done this fiscal
Yeah.
year. I still think it's important, but I don't, if we're talking about before town meeting, or by the end of, by 2 weeks after that, I don't see how we're gonna get that done.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're going to have to remove one policy from this list. That's probably the one. And a policy for it,
I still feel strongly about this one too. And having, town council do a workshop, especially if we recorded it, I just
Yep.
don't think it's feasible this year.
There is a
personally.
recording.
there is, yeah, he's done a couple, and
He's
I've
been
I've
great
been to
about it.
one.
Yeah.
I've attended one that was at the Adult Activity Center 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was 2023. So I don't
Yep, I
know
do too.
if we just ask him to do that, or if there's any sort of schedule. I don't think there is. I don't think it's like an annual thing. But we could probably maybe still do that, depending on his availability. The policy, I think, maybe trying to do too much.
Maybe every 3 years or something, and then use the recording in between? 'Cause
Yeah.
the open meeting law doesn't change.
And I would say even just making that recording available, right, sort of accomplishes it. Even if he doesn't come in and do a workshop
Yeah.
again, at least sending it out to everyone and say, hey,
Or even
FYI.
Yeah, even just checking in with him, hey, are there any major updates that we need to do since the last time you did this recording?
Right, exactly. That's a good point.
Giving folks the opportunity to dialogue, especially around serial communication and what is serial communication, I think is quite informative to folks, because it's not what you think it is typically.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the trickiest things with the open meeting law.
Yep.
And you might be doing it without even realizing
Correct.
it, so, totally agree. Okay, so we can reach out to town council, maybe invite him in, or at least pose the question, if not, okay, and then see if there's anything new, since we had the last one, and then at least make it available to people.
Yeah, send it out,
Yeah, okay,
some sort of a quick, little email to go along with it, I'm sure.
Right.
One of us or someone can do.
and if we don't get to the policy, which I am pretty sure we're not going to, I think that would still be considered successfully achieving this one, so. Okay, and I think that's it, that's our last goal. So we're making very good progress, I think. Anything else that anyone wants to talk about any of these goals? All right, sounds good. All right, moving on to old business, discuss warrant articles for 2026 annual town meeting. So this is our opportunity to just start going through the ones that we've received, maybe talking more about the ones that we said we would sponsor, see if there are any additional ones as well. So there's a folder here in the drive entitled Warrant Articles that has all of them. And I was thinking we can just go through them in the order that they appear in this folder. So the first is Kids Kingdom, nothing really to discuss there.
Just to add that in talking with the superintendent, they officially will be co-sponsoring that article.
Right, so exactly. So I had also talked to the chair of the school committee, and that was the intent. I don't know if they've done it, or they're not meeting this week anyway, but at some point they will.
I thought that they did.
Did they? Okay.
From my conversation with the superintendent, I think that they've taken that vote already.
Okay. I don't watch school committee meetings that frequently. Sometimes I do, sorry to admit it. If anyone's watching that, maybe I'm offending. And Brian's not here either, so, oh well. That will happen if it hasn't happened already. Okay, so the second one is notice of town meeting. So I did meet with Lou Franco, and we reviewed it and got to a point where we both felt like it was pretty good and that we would be able to bring this back and change the way that we're doing our notices of town meetings in a way that's still accessible, especially for seniors. And it didn't really take too much to get to that point.
Mr. Chair, can we
Yep.
just clarify who Lou is for those that
Oh,
might not remember who?
Sure.
We all know here, but.
So Lou Franco is a former member of the select board, and he is a current member of the Council on Aging. So that's why he cares so much about this article being put forward in a way that's, not harmful in any way to seniors being notified of town meeting. Thank you. Sometimes I assume things maybe I shouldn't assume. Okay, so the red line here that I added to the drive includes really like two main updates. So the first is that we added that copies will be made available to members of the public at Town Hall, and we added in other buildings. Yeah, we just wanted to specify a couple things. I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember how this meeting went. So the one red line here is two members of the public, just to specify that anyone in the public can go to town hall or another town building. The expectation by this bylaw is that there will be copies of the warrant there and that they will be made available, which we had discussed too. So that's another red line. So copies will be made available in that they can get one and leave the building with said copy. So that was the first change. And then we added a sentence at the end, pretty much to capture our intent formally in the bylaw to address the concern of, well, I get that you guys are saying that you want to like maintain a list of people who want to still receive the booklet mailed to them, and he also said, I trust this current select board. I know that you guys will make good on that promise, but what happens in the future after an election and there's a new select board and they decide that they don't want to do that anymore? That was the biggest concern. So we added this sentence. In addition to this notification, the select board's office shall maintain a list of residents who opt in to receive a physical copy of the warrant and shall mail copies of the warrant to those households at least 14 days prior to such meeting. So that's the same notice, 14 days, that's above. So I think nothing really different here in how we intended to do this, but it just captures that in language in the bylaw.
I have no problem with that.
So where does it address just mailing the postcard notification?
So I think that's this bolded sentence before that last addition. The select board shall cause a notification of the date of town meeting and availability of the warrant to be mailed to each dwelling. It doesn't explicitly say that it's a postcard, but that language is there by the notification, really.
Yeah, so it would apply, it could be a postcard, it could be a
Yeah.
letter.
Yeah.
Postcards, more inexpensive.
Right, and it does leave that flexibility too, instead of putting in a bylaw that it has to be a postcard and, so.
And I was thinking more, I use postcard just generically, some kind of mailer that's not the whole warrant book. But I think the intent was that the subject, there would be some statement of the articles would be in that notification. I don't know if we need to put it in the bylaw, but again, thinking about future select boards.
Right.
This reads like, okay, the warrant's available and here's the date of town meeting. I think we were looking, and like the prop I made had the brief, like one line of what, like we're gonna have an override, let's say, so there'd be, that would be an article.
Yeah, we didn't add, same thing, right? There's the same exact thing of the list of people who still want to receive it by mail. We didn't include it in the language of the bylaw, but it was our intent. So if we wanted to add something to that effect of, each article, shall be listed on the notification, and I know, Renee, that you had mentioned that like moneyed articles, like for an override,
I think
for example.
the dollar amount should be there.
Yeah, you think the dollar amount should be there if we wanted to capture that as well. I actually intended on adding that because you had brought it up and I completely forgot. So yeah, if we wanted to add something that says that every article is listed on the notice, we can.
Not in its entirety.
Right. I mean, we can't add
Yeah.
a paragraph, but
Thinking out loud a little bit here, would the board be inclined to leave the bylaw kind of as drafted and to stand up a supporting policy?
Policy?
That is more descriptive?
Yeah, because
Right.
then we could have attachments of what it went.
Right,
like,
right, because the policy, though, also is malleable, is more malleable, right, than the bylaw. I'm just thinking that perhaps if you put it in the bylaw and then, oh, we don't want to do it this way, we want to do it this other way, now you're back at town meeting asking for another town meeting vote, as opposed to a policy, if you find that it's not working, you
Right.
can.
I think as long as we have the policy drafted and ready to
In
be presented
advance.
at town meeting. I would
Exactly.
be
That goes
comfortable
hand in
with that.
hand with the
Yeah.
bylaw, yeah.
And because that was the intent, right?
Right.
And I said this to members of the Council on Aging, like the intent here is for, if this passes, we're going to implement a policy to take care of the mailing and the maintaining of the list. It still had concerns. So I think if we implement the policy first and then go to town meeting, I think we have the runway to do that this time, so.
You could implement a policy that's subject to the approval at town meeting, and that would certainly
Completes
show voters that this policy is already in place, ready
And
to
we're-
stand up as soon as the vote is taken.
Right. Okay, I
So-
think that's fine.
One of the reasons that this came up out of the budget task force was not just to save money of the printing of the books and everything, but to buy us more time. If we have to mail the warrant, oh, that's a notification? So when does, the book is still, copies of the warrant, the entire warrant is still 14 days prior. So that's not buying us any time, right?
14 days prior to the meeting.
What is it now? It's about that,
mail
right? Yeah.
It's
So
only-
it's
I
not,
think it's the same. It's
Yeah.
the same.
Wait,
it's not, one of the purposes of bringing this forward was to save money in the printing, in the trees and all that, but also to get us another week
Right. I mean,
before going to the printer.
I'm making this up. I could be wrong, but I would have to imagine if we're sending it to the printer and we're only printing even like, let's say 500 copies, the turnaround time is going to be a lot shorter than having to print
So that would-
thousands.
You saying that, so I don't think we're gonna have 500 people on an opt-out list or opt-in list. I think we're gonna have like under
80?
20.
we could print it
Who
ourselves.
knows?
Realistically, under 20, we can print them in-house.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that they have to be, and it's the same with like, I was thinking as you were talking
Mm.
out loud about that they're available in town buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if somebody doesn't
Yeah.
have a booklet, they can hit print.
And just print it
here's
out.
your printout. So if we're doing it in-house, honestly, even if it's under 100, it's not a problem to print those in-house and mail them out. I think that is what changes. It's the volume of printing that we have to send out to a third party
Yep.
that,
How many do you think we need at town meeting, an annual town meeting, or annual and special? Because you had,
on a
Tons.
typical annual town meeting, 150.
Can you do that in-house?
I have not had professional books printed in the past for town meeting.
Right. It's a strange process that we do. So-
My town that I live in has same exact. We have the
You get
books,
the-
they're mailed, we
Yeah.
get them in the mail, we bring them to town
Is it
meeting.
an actual postcard?
No,
that
we,
you get, or-
in my town that I live in,
Yeah.
we get, it's the same as we do here, it's a book.
Oh, it is
We
the
get
same.
the book.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Well, everyone gets it mailed to their house, but still, when they came to town meeting,
There's
people
more.
were picking up.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
if we have the QR codes too, and people being able to scan it when they get there, we might not see as much of a
As many
drastic
people,
in the first year, but in subsequent years, if people know they can just quick scan it and look at it on their device, I
Right.
think it will continue to go down, how many copies we'll need each year.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, will this address the concerns that people had with future boards? Meaning if you're tying a policy to it, it's still going to be up to future boards. So it may not address the concern.
So the real concern was, what about senior citizens at home who still, don't do the whole QR code thing, don't look at PDFs on, a device. They still want that booklet, and they still want that booklet mailed to them. That part is captured in this bylaw. So sure, we could still implement a policy around that if we needed to, but that being in the bylaw means that we have to do that. The only thing that is not in the bylaw right now that could potentially change with a future board if we did through a policy is what Renee was saying about including like bullet points
Right.
of every single article on
Because
the notice.
this is limited to just the date of town meeting.
So the notice,
Shall
yeah, I
cause
think you're
notification of
technically
the
right
date.
at that. So the select board shall cause a notification of the date of town meeting. It's the
And,
only,
and the availability of the warrant, and saying that the warrant's out.
in how to
How
find
to
it.
get the warrant.
Yeah, I
Right.
just don't think that captures the, the QR code, the bullet points. I know you're talking about a stand-up policy to go with it, but I'm not sure that that would address the concerns as I heard them.
Yeah, and I think, going back to Renee's point, maybe it is good to just add the extra sentence here, that, a list of the warrants will be included in it. I don't want to get too detailed where it says we have to include a QR code.
That's a policy.
Yeah,
I will say that if you put something in this that says a list of the warrant articles will be included on the mailer, that is subjective, that is not objective, and you are going to have different people having a different understanding of what a list of the warrant means.
so we would still need a policy to
So
define
it's,
that.
but that's where you have, Kids Kingdom, so let's have Kids Kingdom as the example. Kids Kingdom playground article, that could be it. Move Kids Kingdom, care, custody, and control of Kids Kingdom. Transfer the care, custody, and control of Kids Kingdom
From
from the school committee to the select board. What the list of that warrant is means very different things to very different people. Bills of a prior fiscal year. Bills of a prior fiscal year totaling $90,000, bills of a prior fiscal year totaling $5.44. It is my opinion that if you say what is gonna be on this mailer in this, that,
Well,
We need a policy, is what I'm hearing here.
It makes sense to have both.
Yeah, I think we can,
to me.
I just think it's limiting, saying, so you could literally just send out a flyer that has the date. I mean, if it had access or or even locations where they could be found, as listed, on the postcard or whatever's mailed, but it just seems too simple, that just the date.
I agree. So let's just try this now. So the select board shall cause a notification of the date of town meeting and availability of the warrant to be mailed to each dwelling in the town in which a registered voter resides at least 14 days prior to such a meeting. So what we can do here, so the select board shall cause a notification of the date of town meeting, comma,
As well as the locations of
the
availability.
availability of the warrant is, already speaks to that.
Well,
It
it could
does,
simply
but I'm-
say the warrant is available.
So I'm not trying to add language around that point right now. I'm trying to figure out how we can capture Renee's point. So a list of articles to be considered, or even the articles to be considered, and then we implement the policy that really gets into the nuts and bolts of what that means. But if we have it there,
I feel like those are two different things versus what Glenn was just talking about, right?
it is, but I think he was, were you also raising the issue of Renee's point about the actual articles being included?
I mean, ideally, but I do hear the points made by the town manager, but I'm mainly just saying that I just don't think it addresses some of the fundamental concerns of future boards. Like that mailer could literally just say, the date of town meeting and warrants are available.
I don't think it could just say warrants are available. It needs to describe the availability of the warrants. I think that has I disagree on that.
Because availability of the warrant, what it means is the mailer is going to tell you how you get the complete booklet.
Right, how to get it mailed to
Whether
you.
it's a QR code, whether it's go to town hall, whether it's call this number and we'll mail it to you to get on this list. So the availability of the warrant, I don't think that's an issue because it's included here, right? There are two things that are going to be required to be on the notice, right? It's the date of town meeting, and it's how to actually get the full booklet. I still think we should add this sentence to capture Renee's point. I think that should be included both in the bylaw and in a policy, so that, one, it's there, right? So no one can say on town meeting floor that it's not there, and then in the policy to actually make it robust so that we're doing it in the best way possible. But Glenn, to your point, I think availability of the warrant being on the notice, I think it takes care of that, right? So it's not just the date, it's also how to find the complete booklet.
Well, yeah, it just says availability of the warrant to be mailed, so it could literally just say that, you could have the warrant mailed to you, but I think to a link/QR code. and the
QR code or similar?
Yeah, or similar.
You know what?
But I don't want to include a QR
Yeah,
code.
I wouldn't
Like,
use- so-
technology
so-
changes.
So I just want to, if I could take a moment and reframe the board of what we're talking about here. We are talking about a bylaw. We're not talking about a policy. I think it's very odd to have language like QR codes in our bylaw.
Access to the.
So
a
I
link.
think we need to make sure we're framing so bylaw, charter, most prescriptive, bylaw fleshes out charter, policy fleshes out bylaw and charter.
Yeah, details, actual implementation that changes over time. So, well, how would you change the language, Glenn? So how would you change
So
the
again, I just
availability
go
of the
back to
warrant?
I'd be concerned that it may not be addressing one of the fundamental issues that the public was concerned with, how future boards would manage this. And it seems to defer to future boards.
Well, the option to get on the opt-in to receive a physical copy mailed to the house.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly,
That covers, if a future board said, we're not even going to mail a postcard, I don't know, but they could always stay on the list and get it mailed to the house. That's in the bylaw.
I mean, by this language, there has to be something on there that tells residents how to access the warrant. So what's the concern, right? It's got to be there.
The way this is written, maybe it's just me, but I could interpret this two ways. When it says, notification of the date of town meeting and availability of the warrant to be mailed to each dwelling. It kind of reads like, is it the warrant that's being mailed to each dwelling?
The
Or the
notification.
The notification
That
is,
language, I think, could be cleared up.
well,
I could,
subject of the sentence is the notification.
To be mailed,
Yeah.
yeah. I read
So
it, yeah.
But
pause
I-
and
To be mailed is modifying notification.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know,
How about-
I could see that being.
The
You
notice
could
shall
say
include
that-
sufficient information to reasonably direct residents to the full
Are
text of
you
the
using
warrant.
AI?
I am.
Oh, God.
No, she came up with that herself. and
No,
it was-
I know.
The select board shall cause
But to
a
ask a question to a
notification,
sentence of
you could
language,
say
I
to
think
be
is
mailed to
appropriate
each
use.
dwelling, but
I do.
Yeah.
The notice shall
So-
include sufficient
Just being
information
inundated
to-
with AI lately.
I know, it's
All right.
everywhere.
Amanda, go ahead. Say it again.
The notice shall include sufficient information to reasonably direct residents to the full text of the warrant. Those are
You know what?
situations which I
We
feel
might
like
as well just add this sentence here, right? So we have that first sentence, and then we have the second one, which is the list that we're going to maintain. So I'll just add it here. So the notification shall include information. Sufficient information
To reasonably direct residents to the full text of the warrant.
reasonably direct residents to the full text of the warrant. Okay.
Is it normal to say the select board shall cause a notification rather than
Yeah.
mail a notification?
I think yeah, that's fine.
So weird.
Apparently I can't spell sufficient. Sufficient? Okay, there we go. No, that's still wrong.
1C.
I thought that's what I tried. I guess not. Okay, there it is. All right. I think that's good. I think that really
Does that capture what you were?
captures it. Glenn, what do you think?
Sure.
Okay. So going back to Renee's point, I think it would be good to include that too. You just deleted it, Renee, but that's
Oh.
what I was just talking about.
You want to put
so-
it in there or a
No,
separate?
I'm going
Okay.
back to the articles. Do we want to
Okay.
add comma, a list of the articles, comma, and availability of the warrant on here or not? I'm just trying to cover all our bases
I
so that
think
we don't
I-
get shot down again.
I like the idea of putting it in the policy.
Yeah, I like the
Yeah.
idea of putting it in both.
But I see the town manager's point of, how much language are we actually including? Does that really save us the time? We can't put them all on a postcard.
What if you had 60? I mean, that's not unheard of. There's town meeting warrants that have lengthy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
lengthy
We're in the
warrants.
All right.
30s.
I'm trying to think
Well,
how we could word it.
either way, we definitely need a policy. That's how
For
we
sure.
have to handle the actual implementation of it. We can just put a pin in it for now and see at a future meeting if we want to discuss it further. But I'm okay leaving this with how it is for tonight.
Because that's the intention, right? Like, if we can fit it, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But I see how that could get confusing.
And a postcard isn't like this big.
Yeah, it's a half a page,
It can be.
basically, right?
It can.
I mean, you
it
could
can
have a full
be
page
a full
postcard.
page.
Yeah, exactly. And that's sort of where I'm getting at too. So,
Yeah, it's a lot
all right.
less paper.
Well, this was good, so we can leave this how it is tonight.
Nope.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were about to say something. Okay, so that's notice of town meeting, and then we have the 300th anniversary committee articles. So the first one is a multi-year allocation of $15,000. Also, at our next 300th anniversary committee meeting, we're going to discuss whether or not we want to do a presentation at town meeting. So we might be doing that as well, and potentially coming before us as well.
That'd be nice.
Yes. And then the other one is for the gift account. Any questions or discussion on these? I think they're very straightforward. They're both a sentence each.
I'm assuming that we're funding that with free cash. Yeah, okay.
I would
Just-
imagine,
okay.
yeah, so. Okay. Then we have the PAC articles. We have 2 articles submitted by PAC. So the first one is restore the $31,271.94 to the town general fund if it was transferred in FY '26. These aren't actual article
These-
language.
So these are largely housekeeping articles. So PAC submits every year at least 2 articles for consideration because they have an enterprise fund.
Right.
So it's funding that. And then the 31,000 is basically a swap between the general fund and the enterprise fund. It's for the indirect costs for the staff. We couldn't do that in the fall because their free cash was not certified. It really largely housekeeping and our standard articles.
Right, so the 31,000 was the one that we were supposed to do a special town meeting
Yeah.
because it was certified.
Yep.
Okay, and then the other one, a sum of 209,000 from expected income, et cetera.
That's their operating budget
Yeah,
for the year.
okay, so that's straightforward. And then the trust fund commission. So we have 2 from the trust fund commission. The first one, I guess I'll summarize. So they wanted to add language in the bylaws if there isn't a quorum of the trust fund commission to basically delegate to the select board the authority to disperse funds in certain cases. So at some point, we did discuss this at the bylaw review committee. We didn't want to include it in our packages of bylaws that we're bringing to town meeting because it's kind of a big change, and they also thought that the select board should decide whether or not we want this authority. So this is something that we'll have to get into detail a little bit more and decide whether or not we support this and want this authority. So we can do that at a future meeting.
Mr. Chairman, we've invited the Trust Fund Commission and the Open Space Commission, which you're going to talk about in a moment, to the next meeting of the Select Board to
Yeah.
present.
Would this would be reviewed by town council, I would assume? Would it need to be?
Eventually.
Yeah.
If we decided to move forward with this.
And then the other one, the Trust Fund Commission is looking for an allocation of $14,000, $252.39 to fund some legal research. So that's the second article as well to be considered.
It's a very specific dollar amount.
It is, yeah, I was,
How did they get to that?
yeah, I guess we'll
39
find out.
cents.
We'll find out.
They're going to present this to us?
Yes. Okay. And then the other one, it's not included here, so we did also discuss this at the bylaw review committee, and it sounded like we're going to include this as part of the bylaw review committee's package to town meeting. But the chair of the open space committee would still like to come present and talk to the select board. Basically, what they want to do is change the how the Open Space Committee is created. So right now, it's an ad hoc committee that falls under the Planning Board, and they would like to establish the Open Space Committee as a standing committee by creating a bylaw. It doesn't really change too much, so the Select Board would have appointing authority for, I believe, 2 at-large positions on the committee, but nothing really would change. It would still be advisory to us in some areas as it is now. They just want that that recognition, I guess, by being a actual formal established by bylaw committee. So they're going to come in and present as well.
And then from my side of things, for your first meeting in March, you'll have the standard kind of slate of articles. In addition to the standard slate of articles, we have placeholders for the 3 collective bargaining agreements. We have an article around the vacation buy-off of folks from the transition from the current system to the accrual. Based on the free cash, I might try to buy all of it so that we're done with that process. And then the last item, board members may recall, there's a cleanup around capital that needs to happen. So it's basically the money from the TCP roof repair needs to be, we need to unwind a vote and revote that funding into the FY '26 capital plan. So, a little complicated, but basically, there was the primary school remediation work. Those funds were then used to fund the TCP roof repair in a town meeting vote. And that same body of funds were used to fund the FY '26 capital plan. So we can't do both. Thankfully, it wasn't spent.
Right.
Which is the great thing here. But we need to unwind one of the votes and revote it so it's proper. And those projects, I set aside that amount of, I set aside projects in this building. So the windows and the HVAC were that amount of money. So I set those aside, and we have not undertaken any work on them until town meeting takes this vote.
Okay.
Yeah, good. I'm glad that money wasn't spent. It
Agreed.
makes this a lot easier to correct.
Correct.
Okay. Any other warrant articles we want to discuss tonight? Okay. moving on. Discussion and approval of appointment policy. So thank you to Melissa for this cleaned version of the policy. Anything in here in our review that stood out? Anything that we want to fix at this point?
No, I think it has everything
I think it was there.
we discussed, and it is easier to read now. Thank you,
Yes.
Melissa.
Thanks, Melissa.
Yep,
Yep.
there are. We have the printed copies too.
All right, so we're going to leave that writing, provide in writing to applicants the reason for interviews when we request.
Let me find it again. So is it under reappointments?
It's before reappointments.
Oh.
The second to last
The
sentence.
select board shall provide in writing to the applicants the reason the
about it last
interviews were
time.
requested. We did.
I already forget.
Yeah, I don't remember where we landed last time. I'm fine taking it out. We changed it from one member of the board to a majority vote. So I think just doing that will make the reason more explicitly spoken.
I think we agreed to take that sentence.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I think
we'll,
Renee sold us, yep.
okay, so I'm gonna just delete
We
this.
spent a lot of time
Yeah.
talking about that, but.
We did. All right, it's deleted, it's
One
gone.
less
Beautiful.
thing we have to do.
Exactly.
All right, so I removed it, it's gone. Was there anything else in here that anyone wanted to bring up? Otherwise, I think it's looking pretty good now that we have this clean
Yeah.
version here.
I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah. Renee?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yep. Glenn?
Yep.
Okay.
Do we need Brian or?
Yeah, good question. Typically, we do like to vote on policies with the full membership of the board. I will say, the next meeting, I won't be here. If you guys want to approve it when I'm not here, that is totally fine by me. So if we want to just hold off, that's okay too. So, all right.
When is
So,
our next meeting, March 3rd?
March,
The
is it?
first
No,
Tuesday in March.
I don't think it's the 3rd.
I thought
is
it was oh, it is the 3rd.
It is the 3rd, okay. Oh, never mind. Got that wrong when I was looking at it yesterday.
I'm flying back on the 3rd.
Okay.
I'm not going to bring that policy forward while you're not here, probably. Sorry, I'm just thinking out loud, as I just said that. If you're not going to be here, I forgot you were going to be gone.
The other policy.
Yeah,
The
sorry.
other one.
my brain
Oh, right,
went
The
right,
to
special
right.
event. Yep.
Yeah, good point.
I'll wait till we have the full board to bring it.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Sorry, I forgot I didn't mention that. Okay. Yeah, you guys can approve it when I'm not here. Totally fine by me. So, okay, we can do that for the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, request for legislative earmarks in the FY27 state budget. So one thing I want to note here on the ones that I proposed, I know we don't actually have any sort of estimate on the Adult Activity Center ramp. So I do actually want to get that to see if it's feasible to include. So that may or may not be something that I propose. It depends on how that looks. So just FYI, I am probably gonna spend some time with the capital plan, and not even just this year, but also the future, and I may substitute that, at least for the ones that I'm proposing. But I just wanted to share that with folks. But we have until the end of March, really, to finalize this, so we have a lot of time. So I wouldn't feel too concerned about having this solidified for tonight. But is there any discussion on this tonight?
No, we have the quote from the fire chief, right? Mm-hmm. Is school bringing forward?
I haven't heard anything yet. I haven't actively solicited anything.
Yeah, I have.
I'm happy to.
Talked
I-
about some, but
I-
I don't know if they decided.
Right. I did mention to folks, we're talking really informally, that I planned on bringing that one capital project forward. No one screamed at me and said, actually, I think this is really important. So, FYI, if you want them to like formally chip in, that's fine as well. But, I do also want to make sure that what we're bringing forward here is very balanced as well.
So the playground, that's what you mean?
Yes.
The playground design.
So, but we got time, we have a little over a month, so, all right. Any other discussion on that for tonight? All right. Moving on, minutes. I don't think we have any minutes tonight. No. Warrants, no warrants either. Are there any action items? Committee reports.
You covered open space pretty well. I have Library Board of Trustees on Thursday, MPO tomorrow, and the Master Plan Steering Committee is still in the final edit phase. That's it.
Stormwater Task Force is meeting this Thursday to talk about feedback that was received from the FinCom and Select Board presentations and starting to prepare for the public information session on March 5th. And as Town Manager mentioned, Finance Committee is meeting Thursday, so they're starting their weekly cadence now of budget season. So I encourage the public to check their agendas, and you'll see the various departments will be presenting over the course of the next several weeks. That's it.
I don't have any.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Not yet. I will have some soon.
So capital planning met last Wednesday. Not too much to report. We sort of discussed the preliminary capital plan, but it was too early for anything. So we're going to have another meeting scheduled the second week of March. And the bylaw review committee met last Thursday. We went over those two proposals that we received. We discussed the Council on Aging bylaw, which we've been talking about quite a bit with the Council on Aging. And I think we came up with a pretty good resolution there, which I'm going to share back with the chair of the Council on Aging and them at some point. And that's pretty much it. So we're talking about some folks that need to come in still to discuss bylaws. At some point, there are department heads that we have to just reach out to. We also did sort of discuss fees because a lot of them are mentioned in the bylaws, so we wanted to just ask them if they thought some dollar amounts that were listed in bylaws are still good, stuff like that. So we're going to be doing that, and then we're scheduling our next meeting before the closing of the warrant so that we can submit the package and actually have that. It'll most likely be a placeholder, but I also told them at some point we have to do some backwards planning because it's going to have to get reviewed by town council too. So we're trying to get it done as soon as possible. In the meantime, I'm the clerk, so I'm working on the red line of all of the discussions that we've had that I'm going to share with them for the next meeting. So that's work that I have that I need to get done at some point. All right, upcoming meetings. March 3rd is going to be our next regularly scheduled select board meeting. Public comment. Is there any public comment from the public? Not seeing anyone in person. On Zoom, Mr. Bowen, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. John Bowen, 162.
Sorry to interrupt, but to the booth, can you just turn the audio up a little bit in the room? All right, try again.
Thank you. John Bowen, 162 Highland Street. Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to mention 2 years ago, I mentioned that we needed to increase, instead of doing overrides, that we needed to increase the tax bracket. And we weren't really going to have a choice, but in lieu of increasing the tax bracket, that within 1 year's time of each resident paying approximately $1.66 per thousand, as well as businesses and so forth that own property within the town, would place $5 million into the town coffer. Now, that was 2 years ago I said that. And I listened to Ms. Town Manager's report today where she said she has $3 million in the general fund, not less the expenses, obviously. But that we're going to be needing an additional $3 million more. So hindsight being 2020, what I had mentioned back 2 years ago to the town, that by increasing by $1.66 per thousand of what the town has for tax money based on property revenue, you would have $5 million in your coffer. You would have been able to handle the $700,000 that was given to the school, the $1 million that was handed to the school 2 years ago, and be able to deal with this issue if we had done this 2 years ago. So I just wanted to just make mention of that option's still on the table, that would leave an additional couple of $1 million that could be kept into the general fund, which we're trading at roughly about, I think it's 12, and I'm anticipating that it'll be 16% annually over the next 2 years. They are presently talking the stock market to increase up over 50,000. So the realistic approach here would be to say, can we take more money and get an investment and get more return on that money through that investment by asking for just a number? Give us $1. I averaged it out this year at about $1.86, which is up about 20 cents from 2 years ago. It's just a thought. If you look at the numbers, Ms. Town Manager, you'll see, I was trying to get recent numbers before I talked to you from the assessor's office, but the tax office, but I wasn't able to get them to get a call back to me in time. So just a recommendation, you're looking at $1.89 per thousand just on property. I know it's a big hit for people for a year, but for a year is going to land us some good investment money for the next couple of years that'll get us through the next year that may not get us into an override again. As they were talking in the Finance Committee, it's going to be one override after another, after another, after another, unless we try to utilize the interest revenue that we're able to take in based on, the money that we have being traded with Bartholomew. Just my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowen. Any other public comment from the public? Not seeing any. Any public comment from the town manager?
No.
Any public comment from the board?
Nope.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn at, where's Brian?
It's
8:31 PM.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The motion passes unanimously. It's 8:31 PM. The select board is adjourned, and we will see you all in March. I will not be here, but I will be back on the third week of March. Have a good night, everyone.